topic is cutting the apron strings. And when we think about cutting the apron strings, some may not know that was something that's like a slogan type gesture that reference to basically cutting off pretty much like dealing with our children. And it talks about, it's actually referencing where we as parents, we as mothers, gets to a place in life where we must cut some things to allow our children to kind of fend for themselves. Is that a word that I want to use? That's a word.
Yes.
Fend for themselves. So what has been some of your experiences, ladies, with cutting the apron strings? Sometimes that's not a fun thing. It kind of can be a scary thing at times.
I think it's uncomfortable for both people, for our children, whether they are a child or a teen or a young adult, and it's even uncomfortable as a parent as we go through the process. Uncomfortable.
I know it has been uncomfortable for me because I believe that we as mothers, we take on that nurturing type state to where we don't know how to stop. Can we say that? I know for me, I didn't know how to stop. What has been some experiences that you've had where you've had to, or let me just go here. Is there a certain age?
Now, I don't think there's a certain age, but I do think it depends upon your child and the situation that they're in and the mind state that you're in. Because you can have an 18-year-old who functions pretty good and you reward them because they're functioning well.
Reward them how? Like
still help, not give. Still help where it's necessary. But at the same time, you could have someone who's 25 who's still functioning as if they're 17. And at that time, it's like you really have to ask yourself, why am I still giving to this 25-year-old person? And you have to think about where they are spiritually, where they are mentally. So I don't think it's an age. I think in your spirit when it's time to cut somebody off.
So basically, like you had made reference to maybe a 25-year-old not functioning to the capacity that a 25-year-old would function. And let's go this way with it, okay? That person, that 25-year-old is not functioning as a 25-year-old, but will be quick to tell you, I'm 25 years old, when you kind of lay down some of those. Are you speaking about someone that may be still in your home?
Could be, but a lot of times the children that we give the most to, I don't think they're always in the home. Because sometimes we give to them because we feel like, they're out on their own, they're trying to do some things. So yeah, I can pay that car insurance, or, they're in college, so I can do this or I can do that for them. So it's not even about them being at home. It's really all about the mindset. Are they taking advantage? Do they truly need your help? Because if you're in college, you might need a little more assistance than somebody working a full-time job that's spending your money.
You know what? I read an article. Let me find it over here. I read an article this week when I was kind of like doing some background research on cutting the apron strings. And what I have found is they have said that there's a problem with parents with college students where they feel that parents need to cut the strings because they're too accessible for the college students. And what they are suggesting that the parents kind of cut some of those ties when they go to college because actually that's the time that they're preparing them to go out into the world. And when they said they even have their kids able to contact them by cell phones just instantly, and if something goes wrong, that parent is calling the dean and actually fixing the problem instead of allowing that kid to make, what word am I looking for? Navigate through that process. And they're still kind of referencing home, like, Mom, I need this, and that, whatever. And they were saying that that's a big problem in colleges when you send your kids off to college.
It really is.
Still want to fix things for them.
Our first visitation, I remember the school said that we're not going to give you access to your child's account. So as far as like how much they're paying, what their grades are. And for me, that was the biggest thing. Like, I can't see the grades. Wait a minute.
Day was the same. I was like, I want to see them grades.
what they did was so awesome because what it said to me is, wait a minute, high school, yeah, you need to see the grades. College, you need to build a level of trust. So what I had to do was I had to begin to transition from the role of, yes, I'm your mother, and being very directive to more of a coach. And when you're a coach, you might let your coach see your grades. You might not let your mom see your grades, but you'll let your coach.
Talk more about that coach piece. Give me that coach piece side of it.
So when you think about coaching, so think about a coach on a football team, right? So on a football team, you have a coach, and he's responsible for the whole team. And, you know, he's responsible for making sure the plays get executed, that they have practice. However, if you notice, the coach is not out there saying, hey, run this, run that. Their coach teaches them the plays. They get a playbook, and they study this playbook at the very beginning when they're in two-a-days. So they get this playbook so they know the play. So the coach, when he sees that a certain thing is going wrong and he doesn't see them operating, he'll throw the play out there. But at the same time, he'll let them use the quarterback and the rest of the team to try to work that play. So if we're coaching the child, it's hard because we don't want to say, well, you need to do this. And I told you in that type of tone, because I'm telling you, when you say those words, they shut you down.
Yeah, because my kids be like, Mom! Like my daughter, Brittany, be like, I got, and I cannot, Sharice, I cannot stand that. I can't stand that. And it's like they wait till they get over 18 to do it because they feel like they can. You know, the only one that, I'm reminded of an incident where you had to save me. I ain't going to talk about it, though. Remember, Anita, I had to, never mind, I ain't going to talk about it. But anyway.
One of the important things that Sharice said that helps me and us to understand this, when she talked about they have a playbook, but the coach gives the team an opportunity to practice. And so when we start cutting apron strings, we got to start practicing some behaviors way before they go to college.
I think that's where I'm kind of messed up. Well, you know what? It depends on the child because Brittany just kind of went on out there because I think there was a level of trust because the grades was always good. I didn't find out some of the stuff that Britt was doing until after she got grown and we get around the family dinner and then they'd be like, Mom, Brittany did this, Brittany did that. And I'd be like, no, she didn't. Yes, she did. But at the time, if she did do that type of stuff, she covered it so tough that she just allowed me to trust her. So when she went to college, I was not bothered at all. Plus, Brittany wasn't that type, so I thought that party and did all that. I didn't see none of that in high school, so I didn't really have that worry. But my son, nervous Jervis. I was nervous, and again, like he was talking about how they don't let you see the grade, but they want the check from you. They want you to, apply for the loans. But when it comes to their grades and things like that, you can't ask. You won't know that they flunked out until they at home. And it's on break, but their break is long. Longer than everybody.
The extended version.
Be like, when you go back to school, we got another week. And then it turns into a month, and I'm like, dude.
It's time to go back to school.
I'm going to switch to another one. You get those excuses. So, again, I think you are right when you talk about different children. I mean, the difference between your children. But also, they quick to do that, I'm grown. What do you do with that, I'm grown, when you know that they're not even operating like an adult?
I think there's...
And wait a minute, let me back up. I'm grown and staying in your crib ain't paying no bills.
Now, luckily, I can say that wasn't my situation. My son, when he became of age, went to live with his father on breaks. Comes to my house pretty regularly, so I didn't experience that. But what I did experience when he was 17, which was, he was born in December, so 17, he turns 18. So I have this 18-year-old all the way as a senior. And I remember one day I was talking to him and I said, let's talk about, where you're going, what you are doing in school and how that applies to the people you're hanging around. I'm having this deep conversation with him, and I'll never forget, he said, I'm a grown man, dog. And I'm like, dog? Wait a minute. I don't roof. I'm your mom. I'm not a dog.
What Medea do?
Right.
He's looking like
still. For real. So, and y'all know, I was like, whoa, dog. Whoa, wait a minute. We don't do that. But those were those behaviors that he was beginning to smell himself. and he was trying those things. And so I was like, well, number one, you're never grown because people are not grown. We're always growing. So we're not grown. So I was like, let's talk about what an adult does.
Oh, you did it so well. Let's talk about it.
No, I didn't say it like
get in here, sit down, and we agree. That was me.
Right.
And of course, that didn't kind of get nowhere because that kind of pushed them further and further away, or actually made them more defensive. But you said, let's talk. So did that work? Let's talk.
Oh no, when I said let's talk, it was probably a lot more sarcastic than that because I had to be in the moment. I was like, let's talk about that. So do you pay your own bills? I didn't even let him answer. No, so we can't check that box. Do you even take care of yourself without me directing you on how to do it? I know you're working on it, but no, you're not there. Did you buy your own car? I mean, I just went down the list of what an adult does. And I even went into, adults don't have temper tantrums. Adults don't, lie. Well, maybe they do.
Most adults don't.
Most adults, And so I went down this whole list, and he was mad at me for like months. And I used to let that manipulate me.
I was going to say, how did that make you feel?
It made me feel like, oh man, well, I don't want my son to be mad at me. We need to have a better relationship than this. And at the time, I was in ministry at a church, and you know how we do sometimes, not anymore, but you try to make it seem like everything is perfect and everything is great. I've learned, it's not. And I don't really mind who knows that it's not. And when you get to that point, then there's no more manipulation.
Let's stay right there with that ministry. Oh, go ahead.
You got to get to a point that you can be free as a parent.
Yes.
And one of the things that has helped me being free as a parent, and especially a parent in ministry, have raised a male child. And when your children act up, you say, oh, that's reflecting me and all that. But then I began to really understand the Word of God. And Adam and Eve had the perfect parent, God. And they messed up.
Sure did.
They messed up. God still loved them, but there's always consequences for your mess up.
There was a situation where, not too long ago, where we were having revival. And this was at the time when we stayed, you were there, you helped me that day. We stayed right next door to the church, and my son got brand new. For all of y'all that don't know what brand new is, he started smelling himself and got to acting real crazy. And he called the police on himself. Imagine that. He called the police on himself. Revival was going on, and I didn't know he called the police on himself because we had got into a heated disturbance. And I went on to church because I was in a place to where I knew that he was doing things to try to get me to react. I went on to church and just left him there. And he didn't call the police on himself. And I remember Troy was over there, and I think he was getting ready to start baptizing some kids or something because it was like the climax of our revival. And Anita was pulling up. And
I'm trying to get to church.
She's trying to get to church, and police, I don't even know this police is like all in our yard. So she was like, Kelly, there's some police out here. Do you want to come out here?
But he waved to me to come here.
The wonderful thing about it is she could have said it and went on in the church. She actually stood out there with him. So now it's me and her out there. He acting crazy. Take me to jail, all that old stuff. So then I told Anita she can go on back over into church. I would handle it. And then here comes my husband, who is the pastor of the church. And he's standing there, and I just turned around because I was so embarrassed because who we were in the church, and here we are, police, my son acting crazy, and the embarrassment of the community and how I thought it was reflecting on us. And here it was, he came, and I was like, Trey, you don't have to stand out here with us. And he was like, y'all my family. And that's when I knew right there he had our back. He's my ride or die. Remember last week?